Hey, how's it going, guys? I want to make a video on handcuff keys and just handcuffs in general. I'm going to do a video in the future on these trade cuffs. I'm just playing around with them, trying to pick them, and it's just interesting to me. It's fascinating. To a law enforcement officer, this will be a boring video because they know all about this stuff, but to the average run-of-the-mill viewer, it'll be fascinating, and you'll learn something today. At least I learned something when I started playing with these. So yeah, here's just standard handcuffs, right? Now here's a handcuff key, a standard handcuff key. You can see obviously we have a keyhole and a key, so we all know that you put it in there and you turn it, right? And that's what unlocks the handcuffs. What I didn't know, which I thought was fascinating, is that the back of the key has that little pin. Now this pin corresponds with the side of the cuffs, and you push this in here, and what it does is it sets the cuff so that it cannot close anymore. Now, when I first got this, started playing with it, I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. And I'm just trying to think, what's the practical reason for that? And there is a huge practical reason. When you handcuff someone, you don't want them to, especially if you're handcuffing someone, there's probably a good reason for it. Maybe a police situation, you're a police officer, and someone's drunk or whatever, you have to detain them, right? If you're throwing handcuffs on them, more than likely it's because they're being arrested, right? So they might be flailing around or angry or drunk or high or whatever the situation is, and in doing so they can accidentally bump their cuffs and tighten them and tighten them and tighten them to the point where it's digging in, cutting into their wrists and causing all kinds of problems. Now I would assume that as an arresting officer you want to prevent them from getting any kind of damage on their wrists because it just looks bad. Even though it's not something you did, they of course as a criminal in most cases will probably suggest that you were abusive and, hey, look at my wrist, you put the cuffs on too tight, all that kind of stuff. So by locking this in, it prevents these from getting too tight, which is cool. I didn't know that, and hopefully some of you guys learned that just now as well. So what's interesting too is that once you do that, if you lock the cuffs in, you have to turn one direction first to reset that, and then the other direction to unlock the cuffs. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of share that information because I thought that was pretty interesting. Besides that, I just want to talk about these different keys. These are Schrade brand cuffs, and I've got Schrade brand keys with this. The standard key is fine. There's nothing wrong with it at all. This is the key that actually came with this set. But I also got this one, which is an extension, okay? So it's a lot easier to just reach over and use this key, as opposed to the small one, just because the small one, it could be a little fidgety, whatever. Not that it's a big deal, but it happens to be a keychain. I just wanted to play around with it. I don't really have a specific use for it. But this does unscrew, and you can pop in whatever key you want. So let's say if you wanted the specific key that went with, those cuffs, you can put this in here, and it's just an extension. That's all it is. And the other thing I got, not because I need it, but because I wanted it. And why do I want this? Just because it's badass. That's it. Will I ever use this? No. I can guarantee I'll never use this. But I just thought it was cool. I like anything that's hidden or covert. Any kind of James Bondish type crap, I fall for. I'm like a little kid with this kind of stuff. So basically, this is a pen with a hidden, a handcuff key in it. All right, so the pen portion is actually very nice. It's a nice insert in there. Writes great. You just turn the tip to take that in and out. There's a little glass punch on the back, unnecessary, but hey, wasted real estate otherwise, right? And when you unscrew the cap, there is your hidden handcuff key. What's cool about this one is this actually cants, okay? It pivots so that there's your pin to set the cuffs. Super friggin' cool. Completely unnecessary, but badass. And then of course this could screw onto the back if you wanted to. So yeah, I just wanted it because I wanted it. I have no use for it whatsoever. I'm sure down the line sometime I'll end up, trading the cuffs for someone else, and I'll throw this kind of stuff in. But for now, I'm playing with it. I'm like a big kid. It's just really fun and cool and interesting to me. At this point, I also want to say that I'm very fascinated in learning how to pick handcuffs and get out of them. But it doesn't mean there's any practical use for it. You know what I mean? If I'm ever abducted by someone and they handcuff me, maybe that'll come in handy. But I would say the majority of times, if you're being handcuffed, it's for good reason, because an actual police officer's handcuffing you. The very last thing you want to do is try to break out of your handcuffs. Okay, so try to use some common sense here, as well as, if you didn't know, something like possessing a handcuff key in certain places can be illegal. Apparently in Pennsylvania it's not, but other places it can be. So please, 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 if you're going to think about getting handcuffs, because it seems interesting, like I did, look up your laws and stuff first to make sure that you're still abiding by all your local and state laws. So that's all. Just want to show you this kind of stuff. I found it interesting, so I wanted to share it with you, as I usually do. So if you guys have handcuffs and experience with it, or if you're a cop watching the video, post down below. Let everyone know what you think about handcuffs. You know, I know some agencies are switching over to the zip tie cuffs. You know, what's your opinions on that as a police officer? Do you like old school handcuffs? Do you like the zip tie cuffs? What's the advantages, the pros and cons? I'm interested. I'd love to hear about it. So anyway, that's all. Hope you guys have an awesome day, and I will see you soon. Take care.